Hello everyone and welcome back to Johnny's Scrims. Sorry about the delay there. There's a surprise patch. Well, not really surprise, but unfortunately everyone had to update their game. We're just waiting for the last few players to join into the lobby now. Um, but yeah, once again, I'm Maron and I'm here with Psycho once again. Um,
I,
and we're bringing you Crimson versus Jamyoole, which hopefully will be an absolute clash of titans. If Jamyoole have cleaned up a little bit since last week, they looked a little bit shaky. But we know from last season that they can perform to a very, very high level, and so far Crimson have been performing to that same high level. So this game could be a very, very long one once we get into it.
I'm just making sure everyone's ready. Yep.
Yeah. And first off, we're going to Lijang Tower, and more specifically, I believe we're in Control Center. Okay. Psycho, any comps you expect to see here, especially since these new nerfs and buffs have been coming through from the
Yeah, I'm excited to
experimentals?
see the Reaper players actually. I wanted to see Reapers snipe people across the map. That'd be pretty hilarious.
I mean, it's pretty much possible with this new buff, but it doesn't look like either side are running that Reaper just yet.
Uh,
Both sides running that Ryan Zarya type of brawl for this point, which we know both teams like to run, and Ludigo as well on that Ryan is very, very scary. Tommy B is also choosing to run that Doomfist, which is a quite interesting pick.
I did see Zotic pick Junkrat. I'm wondering if he'll go back to it or if he's going to stick with the Symmetra.
I predict he will go back to it after switching, just TPing team out of spawn. It looks like he's going Tracer
Oh,
actually.
Tracer.
So he'll actually hop on board here with Tommy B and see if he can get anything done from the side on that Doomfist. Looks like he's getting a Tracer right up behind him as Zotic is coming in late after the TP. He does get a punch off Liv, but can't find any kills just yet as both Ryans are struggling to keep their shields alive. Looks like Jamyoole are being forced out first as we see Misty getting slightly separated away from the team as they rotate in slightly different ways, and Misty does fall. Zadok finding the final blow there as Halisov follows up on the kill onto Maisie G, and now it's just a regroup coming through already from the side of Jamyoole as the point is turned over. First percent going to Crimson.
Yeah, it's a tough fight to lose the first fight because it's very easy to hold in this choke, and you're able to grind up ults very fast, especially off the first point. You've almost got Shatter through. Well, you've got Shatter through coming now, and you've got
Yoda here.
Pulse Bomb
I'm going
coming
to
through.
put down the hammer there, but the flashbang coming through from Maisie G stops that Shatter in its tracks as well as the Nano Boost onto Misty from Sinon. Allows a lot of damage coming through from Misty, who now also has his Shatter available. As well, getting a lot of damage done there to open up that choke point and get the team past.
Yeah, you just see Nutcake trying to just survive a little bit longer on point, just so they can get a bit more charge up on, or a bit more percentage up on the point.
Now Yoda trapped in a very, very awkward position, but the Immortality Field is there as he takes out Tommy B on that Mei, and it's actually a 5v6 here in favor of Crimson. The Shatter being blocked, but the Graviton Surge being there as well from the side of Jamyoole, but it's not enough as Halisov finds two with the High Noon, as well as Yoda finding Misty, who charged into that Grav looking for some damage, but couldn't quite find the kills. Tommy B finding the only kill from Jamyoole on this side, I believe. Finds Halisov, but it's not going to be enough as... actually finds Ludigo as well, but just a little bit of stall for a few extra percent.
A bit of luck. Misty charges the McCree and then saves the team fight, but unfortunately it doesn't come through. But they've got the respawn advantage as they do die earlier, so let's see if they can get back onto point before the rest of Crimson stack back up.
Looks like Crimson have actually managed to stack back up just beforehand. As rotation's coming through, but a nice grab coming out of Toastman does separate the supports away from the rest of the team on the side of Crimson. And the beat coming through does keep the supports alive as now the Nano Boost as well onto Misty, who just pressures forward. The beat is there to try and counter that Nano, but it's not going to be enough as the damage from that Reinhardt with the Nano Boost is just too much. As now the point is once again turning, flip-flopping over back to Jamyoole.
Yeah, and Zotic coming back in on the Junkrat so the Tracer this time. I think that's probably a bit of a better pick just to get some spam damage on the shield. Looks like it's actually going to swap back out, maybe go back to the Tracer.
Actually, picking the Mei, which is definitely a nice pick for this brawl comp. Try to wall off the opposing Ryan, who might just play a little bit too aggressive and try to punish that mistake. Tommy B now, he has his ult available. It looks like he's popping it here after splitting the team of Crimson a small bit. Immortality Field is out though for the side of Crimson as well as for Jamyoole, but unfortunately the Immortality Field falls first for Crimson as they're taken out when they're frozen by Tommy's Blizzard there. Nice play by Jamyoole, playing very aggressive.
The Reinhardt did try to charge out, but he was just stuck in it a wee bit too soon and got frozen on or next to the edge, I believe.
It's kind of unfortunate, but Misty now being spotted by Ludigoyoda, who predicts the Ryan from going for that flank shatter, and now the Graviton Surge as well coming out from Fleshwurst on the side of Jamyoole, and some scrappy trades here, kills coming from both sides, but it looks like Jamyoole are coming out on top as they're turning over to 90%. Jamyoole or Crimson have to rush to get to point here in this next fight, as you do see a ball player coming out as well. A nice shatter coming out from Ludigoyoda, and the kills are there as well. But unfortunately, there's no one able to touch point. The Toastman on ball did go for it, but Tommy B freezing him in his tracks, and looks like first point is just about going to the side of Jamyoole. Very even fight though. The point turned over quite a lot.
Yeah, it was very even. It was a lot better than what we saw the other day. Say that, but yeah, a lot of scrappy fights as well. But it's good to see. It just shows how close the game is. We're flipping point back to point. You saw the point getting taken. It goes up to about 30%, then it gets flipped back over for the other team. It's just unfortunate that Jamyoole managed to kind of get a wee bit more of an advantage out of their ults.
Well, that's what we wanted to see from Jamyoole, who have seemed to have cleaned up a little bit since last week, which is exactly what we wanted to see. Is they are last season's champions, so we know they have it in them to be very, very, very good and very strong. And they are running that double bubble comp, or sorry, that kind of rush comp. I mean, as they push through to point, they push through on the right hand side to prevent getting booped. Now the fight is breaking out on point, and first to fall is Nutcake on that Brigitte, pushing into point a little bit too aggressive away from his team, and unfortunately got punished for it. But Holisov has the pick onto Sinan as well as Zodic finding Misty, so very, very scrappy fight here, and it looks like Crimson are actually coming out on top just about with one or two more picks. Fleshwurst though does manage to find the remech.
That's going to give Crimson a lot of outcharge if they're able to get that mech again, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. She's just going to jump off the edge.
Yeah, Fleshwurst noticing that the point had already turned over for the side of Crimson, decided to just jump off the map and not give away any ult charge.
Again, it's very even fights. From what you might not be able to see, it did look like Crimson obviously did come out a wee bit further on top there, but it was very even at the start.
Well, the copy coming out onto, or from Zodic onto the Winston here, as Holisov already finds a kill onto Antarctic, as well as Fleshwurst finding the boop onto Oliball. Misty now finds a kill onto Nutcake as well, so there's no support around for the side of Crimson, who are just brawling as much as possible in point. Zodic with that primal, just trying to stall point for as long as possible, even without the heals. And it looks like he's able to find a couple of picks here, and now Ludigoyoda as well, dropping that bomb on point. Can't quite find anyone with the bomb itself, but Ludigoyoda finding that Baby Diva kill onto Misty. And looks like the point is going to turn over to Jamyoole, but only just about, as Nutcake is just barely getting back to the fight, but it's going to be too little too late. Sinan though does fall off the map somehow, probably fading off the map, missing the jump. And now Jamyoole just trying to stall for as long as possible. You see Misty coming in here, diving onto that Zenyatta, trying to take him out of the fight first before proceeding onto the point. This is a really, really scrappy fight from both sides here, just giving it their all to just try stall out point for as long as possible, but that's not a very good thing for Crimson right now, as Jamyoole have control.
Yeah, not only do they have control, but I think they've got a slight advantage with the ults as well. Like the Lucio's way to come online. It's just
nice bomb positioning there. Able to find Zodic, so looks like it's gonna be an extra few seconds now before Crimson can really push in. Okay, Zodic now flying out of spawn, looking for a bit of damage with that right click, but Fleshwurst did a nice job of eating most of it with that Diva. We do see Toastman is on the flank along with Holisov, looking for some picks from the backline as he goes for the mines on the bridge. It's going to be very tricky for Jamyoole to fall back here, as Fleshwurst already taking a lot of damage from those mines, and now, as was Misty, just tanks them all, in fact, and ends up dying from it. Toastman now looking for more. Sinan does also fall to those mines, trying to fade back across the bridge. Nutcake wiping out Tommy B as well. And now this point turning very convincingly over, in fact, for Crimson. Yeah. Although there's a bit of a stall coming out from Maisie G and also Misty on that Winston. but I believe the point is about to turn.
Yeah, Crimson took the first like convincing fight of the game so far.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I must say that was a nice play out of Toastman there, going and mining
Oh
right
yeah,
behind the side of Jamyoole, so they couldn't actually fall out. And once they got started getting pressure from the front, they had nowhere to go really.
yeah. But if you look at the ults on the side of Jamyoole, though, they have 4 ults and they're
A
close to the
nice
5th
EMP
one.
here, along with the coalescence as well. The bomb is there from Ludigo Yoda trying to prevent any follow-up damage from that EMP, but unfortunately it's not going to find anybody as they're all able to push inside that room on time. And now the kills are coming through from the side of Jamyoole, but Zadok copying that diva to try stall point for a little while longer. Hopefully going to try to find a bomb here, and here it comes. Might not be able to find anyone though, as there's a bubble there out of Misty, kind of preventing the damage from properly coming through. As Fleshbush does fall off the map after being demeched, and Toastman finding Antarctic as well. Misty though, looking for those kills as Primal. He wants to cap the point. They want the point to finally turn over in their favor, but Nutcake says no, as well as Zadok with that nano boost, killing everyone inside on point. And now Misty just jumping back onto the point once again, trying to stall for as long as possible. The beat is there as well from Antarctic, as finally a kill comes through onto Misty, but might not be enough as Misty is taken out by Zadok's beam on that Echo. Ludigo Yoda and Halisav pressuring Tommy B on that Sombra as well, preventing him from touching the point. And now it's just Maisie G stalling point for as long as possible, and it is overtime for Crimson here. If Jamyoole get off the point, they're probably going to lose it, as it's been overtime for some time now. But Maisie G is finding the picks here, looking for a second, and it actually finds 2 more with that Pulse Bomb. That's 3 kills for Maisie G, but Nutcake is back with the rally on point. And Tommy B is coming back in as well. Unfortunately fails that Translocator just about. TP's a little bit too soon. As now both sides just giving it their all, brawling on point. Unfortunately, Jamyoole stepped off for just long enough for overtime to tick away. And it looks like Crimson take the second point.
I'm quite surprised to see that though, because you know the Sombra pick was very strong. Considering if you look at the team comps, Sombra countered both the tanks, so that's pretty much all like everything that on paper at least everything Crimson could have done would have got countered by Sombra. But I don't know what happened. I think that just the ball was good at getting behind the team.
Sombra can only hack one person at a time, and
yeah.
that ball and Tracer played very, very well together. So even if one of them got hacked, the other one could follow up and at least protect each other until they're able to properly re-engage. And it was played quite well by both teams, but Crimson, of course, coming out on top this time around. As now we're heading over onto the third and final map of Lijang Tower here, Night Market, as we do see a brawl comp from both sides, but the Rhine brawl coming out from the side of Crimson, TPing onto point, but instantly that Reinhardt is hacked and falling very, very low, but the heals are there, as well as that immortality field to keep him alive, as Fleshburst actually gets demeched early on. Ludigo Yoda swinging his hammer on point, asserting his dominance, finding a few more picks for himself, as well as Zadok finding Misty. And it looks like first fight is very, very convincingly won for the side of Crimson once again.
Yeah, that was very good from Nutcake as well. He managed to isolate the Sombra very early on, hit a boop so she had to use her TP to get off the map, and at that point it was a 5v6 anyway.
Tambina has switched over onto that fire, which is a comfort pick of his. We've seen him perform very, very well on it, and now he's just spamming rockets in through those windows, trying to find one of the supports in the backline maybe, looking for a boop, can't quite find it. The only one who went close to the edge there was the Lucio, who could just wall right back up, but Oliball falling very, very low here on that Baptiste, as Tommy's getting a lot of spam damage in here already, 50% on his ultimate almost. Unfortunately, no kills coming through just yet, as both sides are finding it hard to push in. Misty falling first, but Tommy B trading with Halisav as well. And the Resurrect might be there for Misty. Nice positioning and nice protection from Tommy as well. As looks like Jamyoole are finally pushing more aggressively here. But the Immortality Field forced out already from Oliball. As the beat is actually coming out as well. Just keep those players alive on the point. It's going to be very, very tricky for Jamyoole to break this defense that Crimson have built up. And it looks like Tommy now falls as well as Misty once again. And it looks like Antarctic as well going to fall very, very quickly after Tommy.
Yeah, Holy Solve doing a very good job coming back into the team fight there, grabbing the hit scan player. And I think he grabbed another pick as well. At least he definitely helped with one, a huge amount.
Yeah, there we just saw Ludigo Yoda putting his hammer down just to stall Misty for even longer. And making it even harder for Jamyoole to break this defense. Especially with those sim turrets on point. It's going to be very, very tricky for anyone to push in and actually have any effective value. Although Maisie G does a good job of getting something as finds a pick onto Halisav. And the Bob as well coming through. Actually in the middle of that Symmetra Seal, so it can damage both sides, as well as Tommy B now finding 4 with their Rocket Barrage on the point. And it looks like finally Jamyoole have broken the defenses of Crimson and are looking to hold on to the point for themselves.
but at a huge cost of 3 ults as well, and 3 of the better looking ults, or not maybe not the better looking ults, but that you're both DPS and your Mercy. So although they did break the defense, it was not cheap.
Wasn't cheap, but they might be able to hold on to the next fight a little bit cheaper than these pushes that they've been having. As you do see now, a rotation coming out from the side of Crimson, who are running a much more of a brawl comp and will be wanting to take out that fire before pushing in, and they do just that. Holly finding the fire and the Mercy with that high noon. The grab's on Surge now as well, coming out from Fleshwurst, but I don't know if it's going to find anything really. It's a big grab, but there's no damage. As now the Transcendence coming out as well from Sinan. Mazy G finds his second pick for himself in this fight, but unfortunately once again it might not be enough. Hollysaw finds Sinan as well as Mazy G now, as Ludicruyata solo shattering that ball once again and pinning him right up against that wall.
Hollysaw just put that attack on his back there. He got 5 picks at the end of that fight.
Yeah, Holly doing very, very well, and once again it's going to be very tricky for Jamyoole to break this defense, and Tommy B falling early, and as well as the point turning over to overtime already. Missy dropping those mines on point as Antarctic might be looking for a res here, but won't be able to find the time as he has to keep those tanks alive as much as possible. It's not going to be able to do though. Going for that res onto the D.Va, but there's nobody able to touch point in the meantime, and that's Night Market turning over for Crimson and map 1 going for Crimson.
Yeah, so a rocky start for both teams. It looked very evened out. But Crimson obviously finding their footing in the second and third point of the map. So I wonder what's going to happen in the next couple maps. See if they can keep up the pace, or if they crumble to Jamyoole's map pick.
Crimson definitely looking stronger as the map went on. But that was their map pick, of course. So we have to give Jamyoole some credit for even holding their own on and taking the first point, as well as doing quite well on second point. It's just unfortunately they couldn't break that defense that that Crimson set up on that third point in Night Market. And even when they finally did, as you said, it was very expensive for them. They had to use 3 ultimates just to win one team fight, and then the following team fight they lost their pharmacy very, very early on. Hollysav with a big high noon, and Hollysav kept up that pressure as well, finding, as you said, 5 picks. So Crimson showing they're not going down without a fight, and they take map 1. And of course, Crimson do want to keep up their unbeaten streak. They have 3-0'd, I believe, their previous 2 games. And Jamyoole, of course, having a very, very rough first week with their 6 map game, where they just barely managed to get ahead by 1 map in the end with the reverse sweep. And then last week, getting 3-0'd by Essence, I believe, must have been a huge blow for their confidence. So they'll want to be coming back and showing that they're a better team than what they've been showing so far. And I mean, on first point, we could kind of see that both teams, as we said, starting off rocky, but Crimson looking very, very solid as Jamyoole couldn't really do anything that third point.
Yeah, it almost looks like that was kind of the warm-up map for both teams, though. At least the first point. Well, like we said, Crimson did find their footing. So I wonder what's going to happen here now. Jamyoole, they have the map pick. They're kind of going in with an advantage of this map. They should be warmed up now if that was a warm-up map. Yeah, I mean, the teams, like the team comps are looking quite similar. There's maybe 1 or 2 different picks here and there from each side.
I think the first map they pretty much mirrored, only a couple different picks, but for the second 2 maps they actually played pretty much completely different comps. In Crimson playing a much more fast-paced comp, running that ball comp with the Tracer, whereas Jamyoole playing that rush style with the Monkey D.Va, which is basically like a more mobile, slightly faster-paced brawl comp. And then on third
I think
point,
at the start of the third point, they did they didn't mirror, but they played very similar until they moved on to the Fire Mercy.
they did, and I think they chose that Fire Mercy to try and pressure the point from above. Unfortunately, weren't able to find any picks, as it was very hard to get the pressure in from every side.
Yeah, you have McCree. McCree's he looks very strong as Fire Mercy, and he's very scary. But to be fair, though, most of the fights that happened there, the Kree got picked first, came back, and then got like 3 or 4 picks as he was coming back.
Yeah, it seemed that Jamyoole kind of forgot about that McCree in Hollysav, but that's definitely not what you want to do. As Hollysav, as we've seen, can absolutely hard carry some fights. But we are heading over now onto Dorado, as believe Crimson are on defense here and Jamyoole on attack. Going to be interesting to see what comps both these teams decide to run.
I think we're going to see something very similar to Lijang, where one's going to be kind of a more static pace, and then the other one's going to be a bit more divey. So yeah, we see here we see Crimson going with, a more death ball type to double shield, Torbjorn sniper, and then you have the more divey comp coming out from Jamyoole with the Winston and the Tracer and the Mercy. So
yeah,
I wonder.
Jamyoole running their famous double bubble, but I mean, Winston has been buffed, so that should help double bubble quite a lot. But Ludigo Yoda taking advantage of this new Orisa buff that makes Orisa pretty much unkillable, not able to get headshot while using Fortify. So it's gonna be very interesting to see how these tank lines work against one another.
Yeah, and obviously you have the turret there to just, just if anything, be annoying.
The turret should help to shut down the Echo who's flying around in the sky, and it's doing just that. And it should make it easier for Misty to one-tap, or for Exotic to one-tap either Antarctic or Tommy B out of the sky. But Ludigo got to find the first pick onto Sign, and I'm not sure if the res is going to be available there, as it's kind of in an open position.
Yeah, it was a very quick pick on the side of Crimson as well, but you can see here the Tracer is trying to flank. Spot up Exotic though, so that flank's not gonna live for much longer. As yeah, the pull rock combo seems to be shining here.
Pull can combo with literally anything. As now the resurrect is going to come through, but the pull is going to stop it. No, it's not quite going to find the Mercy there as she's flying back to her team. And the double bubble. Here comes the dive, but Misty getting burnt very, very quickly. Misty couldn't have done a lot more there to stay alive. The bubble timing was pretty good, but just the sheer amount of damage coming out from the side of Crimson right now with that double shield comp, as well as the unkillability of Orisa, makes it very, very hard to break this comp, especially with them owning the high ground here as well.
Yeah, it seems to be like the double bubble came through and Crimson just went, we don't care. We'll just burn through it.
We see Misty here taking a lot of spam damage from this Orisa, but purposefully so, and charging up that nano boost, which is almost available for the side of Crimson. The bubble, though, is forced out early here as Misty walks across onto the other side of the choke. But the heals are there once again from Sinan, and now the nano boost is available as well as the Valkyrie for the side of Jamyoole. But the rotation coming through from side of Crimson is very, very nice, leaving only Exotic on the high ground, who does get picked off, but the rest of the team is going to be very hard to pressure as they fall all the way back. And the molten core now from that Torbjorn as well, going to put a lot of pressure onto Misty, who does fall thanks to Ollie Ball there. But Maisie G does get on the flank, does find the kill onto that Zenyatta, as well as the Resurrect coming through onto Misty from Antarctic. Tommy B finding knockkick as well. I believe that's no healing now for the side of Crimson. Tommy B looking for that Torbjorn pick as well, ignoring the turret for now and wanting to find that kill onto Torb, leaving it instead for his Zarya to finish off. As he looks for other kills later in the fight. The stick does come through from Maisie G onto that Sigma, but Sinan says no, I want that kill instead, and actually takes the kill first. Knockkick finding Tommy B as well as a fadeaway kill here.
Yeah, and Holy Soul going to swap back onto that McCree. Torbjorn's very strong in high ground positions, and especially on that first point, it's long, kind of open sight lines, but second point, it's a bit tighter. Yeah, so you're going to see the Kree come out here.
Misty there had a nice dive, found the pick onto Exotic, who unfortunately wasn't able to get back into that immortality field from Knockkick on time, and does fall early here. And now Misty, though, falling very, very low from that Orisa, but does have the prime to stay alive, and unfortunately can't quite land the jump as intended. But Hollysob absolutely destroying Tommy B's copy there on that Echo as the Kree copy came through, I believe. And now Ludio to find Maisie G as well.
It looks like Yamio's team's just shook. Like, you saw the Tracer flank coming just a little bit too late to save anyone on his team. The copy, it immediately got deleted. Misty was struggling, and then the Tracer dive came in. I think that might have just been a little bit of miscommunication. Obviously, it's going to be very hard to push as a Tracer into a Brigitte and a McCree, so I don't blame him for being a bit late there, but that might have been a thing that could have saved the tanks.
Maybe, and we did see as well, though, Ludio popping that Bongo as well, which I'm not sure was quite necessary, as the fight looked already won, but they were able to clean up a little bit more with it. But the Graviton Surge absolutely massive now coming through from the side of Crimson, and they want to take out the Immortality Field first, and they do just that. Or from Jamyoole, I should say, as Misty with the Nano Boost finds both supports out of that Grav, and now the sleep is welcome through onto Exotic, who's probably going to fall here, but Hollysob with a 4k High Noon! Absolutely just ignored upon the high ground, as well as Ludiota finding Sign, and now it's just Flesh Force against the remaining 2 of Crimson there, and Holisov with 5
That's another
kills.
5k team fight for Holisov as well. In 2 maps, 2 team fights, he takes 5 kills,
That high noon was
mounting the heads of Jamyoole
entirely
onto his...
ignored.
Oh man, Holisov seems tonight. He just seems to be like, yeah, you're gonna kill my teammates. Well, I'll just kill the rest of your team. It's fine.
Yeah, Ludoyoda not giving up his ground either, staying on point and
enough?
finding that Ana as well, leaving just Fleshworks to try and survive on point, but Holisov finds that final kill, and that's some very impressive play from the side of Crimson. Even though, you know, that was a nice grab and a nice nano onto the Winston. Did find 3 kills, but it's just not enough. Holisov just having either a great day today or just absolutely an insane player. Ludoyoda here under a lot of pressure on the point, but I mean, it's Orisa, not under too much pressure. Tommy B, nice coordination there with Misty to dive up onto the high ground, finds Holisov as well as Oliball, and is now looking for a third pick, maybe onto that Baptiste if possible. Toastman is there to stop it. He does shut down Tommy B, and now Antarctic is caught out in a very, very bad position here. It is taken out as well. Looks like the side of
looks like
Crimson
the
just
dive
holding.
characters on the side of Jamyoole kind of dived in one by one. You know, the Winston was caught in the middle, then the Echo went in, and then the Mercy tried to go in for the res after the Echo died. Again, that could just be miscommunication or like just trying to do a risky play to get your teammates back up, but at the end of the day, it's still a lost team fight.
A nice ult there from Toastman, shuts down an early push out of Misty, and that's going to be another regroup really, really quickly for the side of Jamyoole, who are now under a lot of pressure to just recontest the point even. As well, now Zodic finding pick onto Sinan. The Resurrect is going to be there, but so is a pull Dynamite and pull Rock combo. And a lot of damage. Misty getting instantly burned with that dive. The Zarya bubble not even having time to come through, and now the copy coming through from Tommy onto Sigma gets booped way up into the air and instantly killed as well by Zodic once again. Zodic also found that Ana once again, and now Ludoyoda with the bongo means more instant headshot kills from that Ashe, as well as a lot more damage from the rest of the team. And there's nothing that Jamyoole can even do here. They won't be able to touch the point unless Misty can jump to point right here. 10 seconds left on the clock.
It's not like they're doing the wrong plays either. They have the right plays. They're just getting caught out too early. Like, they're getting caught out on the jump to the high ground, even with the double bubble.
I mean, double bubble people think is a very passive, very defensive comp, and it is, but we see here Crimson are playing it in a very aggressive way, using ultimates very, very early on in fights and just dominating them before Jamyoole can even react, and they absolutely dominate the second point hold on Dorado here.
It absolutely looks like Crimson is on top of everything today. Target calling, strats, comp, mechanics, just everything. Where Jamyoole is just looking like, you know, they're getting better throughout the games here, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to save them at least from this map. Let's is hoping next map's a bit more closer for a more you know, we want to keep this going as long as possible.
You can say that, but at the same time, you know, Jamyoole might first point hold this, so we don't really know. But Jamyoole having known past further double bubble, and it just looked like they couldn't quite pull it off today. Or at least against that new double shield, especially with Orisa having that new buff as well. But even with that buff, it did look like more Holisov and Zodic just getting these picks early on in team fights is what was really carrying them. And
yeah, it's
I'm not sure if it's
miscommunication.
I'm not sure if it's miscommunication on the side of Jamyoole, or if people are just poking a little bit too soon. Maybe a little bit overconfident in their healers or their own health pool.
It could be a bit of both, to be perfect. To be honest, it could be Misty's like calling to jump in and then maybe the call's getting ignored, or maybe jumping in too early and the Zarya can't find it. But I don't know exactly what's happening because obviously we're not in the voice chat. But I mean, something's not going right.
I mean, with that said, as we said, like Jamyoole aren't necessarily playing badly here. They're not doing anything wrong per se.
Not.
It's just Crimson are just playing better. They're getting these early picks, using these early ults, and just winning team fights pretty much before they start. And it looks like Jamyoole don't want to do that here.
You saw Zodic on the high ground getting picks on the supports, like I said, before the fight's starting. I'm wondering what's going to happen here and now, because it's going to be a bit harder to get that backlane support.
See Misty here falling very, very low under a lot of pressure from the side of Crimson. Does get out with his life, but Sinan also was under quite a lot of pressure from Toastman on that Wrecking Ball, who was able to get a flank in behind uncontested. And now Tommy B, though, finds the first pick onto Ludoyoda, who pushed a little bit too aggressive underneath that choke, as Toastman wasn't quite ready to contest the backline just yet, which he's doing right now, as Holisov does find the pick onto Tommy B. As well as Zodic finding the pick onto Misty, he was just holding that choke a little bit too long, not realizing his supports were under pressure from that Wrecking Ball. Another Nano Boost is coming through onto the Zarya here, who's 6% onto Graviton Surge, which is a pretty impressive stat, considering how long this game has been going on for. But unfortunately, that Nano is just going to get hard focus fired as Zodic finds the pick. Hollysaw following up as well onto Sinon, and fairly dominating push for the side of Crimson. Yeah, we're
Yeah, I
just pushed
mean,
right through here.
it doesn't even look like. I mean, the Tracer. They maybe should swap off the Tracer, and I think they might just because she is going into account like the counter of Brig. But I mean, like they have the this not the Symmetra, the Sombra, which is a very good pick. Like considering there's not many angles that Crimson can hold to avoid that hack onto.
Looks like Toastman here has found Fleshburst out of position, but the peel is there just on time from both Tommy B and Antarctic to just keep Fleshburst alive on that Zarya with that charge. As now Missy drives very, very far forward here, looking for a pick, at least clears the high ground for now, as the hack is trying to come through onto one of those tanks, I believe, but unfortunately can't quite find it. As now the Nano Blade's coming through as well. Zodic finds one, looking for a second here as he's going on to Fleshburst. Might not be able to find it. Yes, he can, as now the Primal comes out from Misty as well, just to try and clear point, try and stall for a little bit longer, as the point is almost at the final point here, as the sights coming through.
Yeah, and that's two absolutely huge picks from Zodic. Getting the Zarya and the Ana. So Ana can't even build up her Nano before this team fight's over, and
Ludigoyot as well, popping out there just to force the Sig 9, and that's all she wrote. Crimson taking map 2 very, very convincingly here. Looks like they were definitely prepared for a Dorado map, and
yeah.
able to just absolutely roll it right over. Hollystaff, of course, have to play the game. Probably this 4K, 5K even, high noon.
5K, yeah. Yeah, just getting completely ignored by everything, and then just jumping down onto the Zarya, and you know, there's not much Zarya can do here. He can't really get away at this point, and yeah, finishing off.
Able to find that final pick. And that's going to be so far a 2-0 for Crimson, but I mean, Jamyoole have reverse swept before and in week 1, and it looks like they're going to be forced to try and do it again if they want to actually pull back a win here and not get 3-0'd yet again.
Yeah, it absolutely looks like something is eating away in the back of Yamyoole's head here. I guess they must have thought that they could have absolutely won this game. You know, and they could have absolutely won. They could have absolutely won Lijang Tower, and maybe if they did win Lijang Tower, it's a different story. Maybe if they won Lijang Tower, won that second point, we might have been looking at Crimson to reverse sweep, but that's not the reality we live in.
Yeah,
So we'll see if Jamyoole can pull it off.
Jamyoole definitely. I think even as these matches go on, we saw some more probably miscommunication, and it looks like a lot of solo play from different players who seem to be, I think, tilting and just not being able to focus and listen to team calls and just trying to. They want to try and just solo carry, which isn't going to be possible in a league like this, especially against a team like Crimson.
Yeah, especially like they're trying to 1v6, and there's Hollysolve there that can 1v6 himself. So there's you know Crimson is absolutely they have come here, and they've come here to win. Where I think like Jamyoole, they just need a bit of confidence in these team fights. A bit more communication, like you said, to win the game.
Yeah, I
Or,
know
to win
Jamyoole
the
can be
map.
prone to tilt every now and then, but all I can say is the best thing to do right now against a team like Crimson and in a situation like this where they are getting a little bit steamrolled is take a breath, calm down for a second, and well, as I said, just
Yeah,
calm down and start listening to each other and try playing even more as a group, not less.
yeah, absolutely.
Communication
Just
is absolutely the key right now to try and beat Crimson and try and come back into this match.
yeah, like you're 2-0 down. Just there's nothing you can do about that. I would reset, like like you said, reset in your minds. Maybe even just go right, guys. Completely reset. It's 0-0. We win this map. But I think we just need a bit of a confidence boost. If they could win Kingsrow, this can absolutely come back to be a reverse sweep.
It could indeed, but Kingsrow is not going to be an easy map to win here, as we know Crimson are very, very strong on that brawl, especially with Louis Yoda being a very strong Rhine specialist. However, with that said, we did see on Lijang Control Center both teams running that Ryan Brawl and actually Jamyoole coming out on top. So maybe that's their
Yep,
thinking behind picking this map. Is that their
absolutely.
Brawl was able to win out over Crimson. So we don't really know what to expect right
Yeah,
here.
what I'm curious to see is, we saw the Orisa Sigma come out on Dorado. I wonder if Crimson will pull that out here, but it doesn't look like they're gonna. It looks like they're gonna pull it with a brawl here.
I mean, you kind of have to run the Brawl if you're running Kingsrow. Um,
Yeah,
Especially, I mean,
uh,
these two teams are massive Brawl teams, and as I said before, Ludo Yoda definitely a very, very strong Reinhardt specialist. Um, so I think both teams expect each other to run this Ryan Zarya Brawl comp.
yeah. I was just curious to see because, like I said, on Dorado, we did see the Orisa Sigma come on the side of Crimson. It did work really, really well. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's Kingsrow is a huge heavy brawl map.
I find double shield can work on first point, but it starts to struggle later on, especially on
Yeah.
Streets phase. So running this Brawl is definitely a good idea. As we see now, Jamyoole really, really quickly here, rushing in through that the hotel on the left-hand side there, looking for an early pick. As Immortality Field's forced out from both sides, Missy's will finding the first pick onto Toastman. As Ludo Yoda finds 3 with one swing. Just able to get into that fight a bit easier. As now Hollysav is cleaning up as well, finds 2. Looks like Ludo Yoda wants that 4th, not letting Holly take an extra kill. That's a team kill right there, and Ludo Yoda already has Shatter available compared to Misty's 50%.
Yeah, those, that's got to give Yoda a huge confidence boost as well. Like, he must be on an all-time high after that.
And here comes the Shatter, and it's absolutely massive. Actually hitting pretty much everyone on the side of Jamyoole, or everyone within sight at least, as Fleshwurst was the only one to not die to that, looking like he wanted to try and escape with his energy. Toastman doesn't want that happening, tries to get the pick, but can't quite find it.
Yeah, Misty obviously was not expecting the Shadow to come out straight away, and goes in to be really aggressive, and you can put a shield up, but it's only going to save himself.
Another walk out from Tommy B. Does split the team of Crimson slightly, but it actually looks like it's hurting Jamyoole more than it's hurting Crimson here, as both teams using their windows. As now the Graviton Surge is well coming out from Fleshwurst. Looks like the kills are going to be followed through from Antarctic actually. And it looks like finally Jamyoole are taking a nice convincing fight win, but they had to use 2 ults to do so.
Yep.
Compared to only 1 ult came out from the side of Crimson. But
Yeah,
Crimson
but having
getting
said
a
that, they're
close
way
spawn.
to go and have 4 ults come up anyway. Maisie G did really well to get his ult charge up.
Tommy B is not done yet as he throws his May ult into the opposing spawn. They do find a pick onto Ludigo Yoda. And Hollysoft, though, off on the flank. He went out the other side of the spawn and finds 2 for himself. As now Zodic finds 2 as well, actually, in the front line. And it's, once again, just Fleshwurst trying to run away with his life and keep that energy up. As now a closer hold is going to be available for the side of Crimson if their Reinhardt can get back quick enough.
Yeah, so the DPS are doing absolutely everything they can to keep the team fights up on the side of Crimson. It's working as well. Like, Hollysoft and Zotnik, they're getting really important picks.
The High Noon does come out from Hollysav. Unfortunately, can't quite find anyone, but it does force Jamyoole to play a little bit more passive as Macy G is spotted actually going on the flank, but here comes the Death Blossom teleporting in, finds Oliball and finds 2 more now as well, finding Hollysav and Ludovico Yoda as well. The shadow comes through from Misty, not quite necessary I think, but pretty good for cleanup as that's another team kill coming through from the side of Jamyoole. Zodic did well to try and spot that flank from Macy G, but Macy G said he doesn't care and just TPs into the backline anyway.
It was an amazing ult there to get 3 picks, and then it was just cleanup after that. Really good work there from SEG, who is he's been playing his own game, so he's been playing really well.
But Misty using that shatter means doesn't have it available for this fight, but there are a lot of ults on the side of Crimson here as the tire coming through first. Can't quite get shot down as Sinan walks out of his own immortality field and gets taken out by that tire.
That's an absolutely huge pick as well. That pretty much their get out of jail free card taken out immediately.
Yeah, Tommy B there had a nice Maywell to try slow down the push of Crimson, but the tanks got past it first and were able to actually run over the side of Jamyoole because that Baptiste wasn't available. There wasn't really any healing available, so a pretty easy fight once again for the side of Crimson. As now we see Zodic on the flank here on that Junkrat looking for some More shots from the backline. Ollieball finds the first kill onto Sign, and actually second kill as Ludiota finds Antarctic first. And now Zotic just into that grab, spamming everything through the Baptiste amplification matrix. That's one ult, I believe, two ults, sorry, to win
2 ults, yeah.
a team fight with a team kill. So some nice
But
play once again.
that's a really good ult to survive as well. The graviton surge, you know, as everything kind of goes past your Baptiste window, you know, who cares? You've got Junkrat to spam damage anyway.
Tommy B now with the Blizzard. Hollysoft counters it with the Hanoon, but actually cancels it early. As we do see Crimson starting to get rolled over a little bit here.
You know, but this is probably as expected. You know, they probably expected most of the ults to be up for Jamyoole, and you know, the male in those small areas are just gonna completely. They're either gonna clear them out or win the team fight, which is what happened.
Tommy B and Misty here pushing very forward, doing a nice job of getting some extra picks to slow down the recontest out of the side of Crimson here. But the Immortality Field used very early on by Cyan there and it's killed instantly. So if Crimson push very aggressively here, they'll probably actually win this fight simply due to the fact that there's no Immortality Field available for Jamyoole. It looks like they want to do just that. Zotic pulling Tyre from very close. The beat is forced out, just barely keeps the players alive. And a nice Maywall out of Tommy B shuts down Ludigoya's Shatter. As he went to shut down that amplification matrix, as Misty finds a pick with the fire strike onto Hollysoft as well through that amplification matrix, and now Maisie G looking for a flank into the backline as Tommy B starts cleaning up on point with that May.
Yeah, this is looking like a much better team from the first two maps. From on the side of Jamyoole.
Hollysoft just switched over onto the Widow and instantly took out Antarctic. As now Jamyoole once again, Tommy B with an early May ult takes out two, thanks to Fleshworth's follow up as well. As Nutcake just goes to the point, but Hollysoft finds a second pick, as well as Zotic finding Nutcake as well.
Here as well on the Zarya. Zarya's stuck in the backline on low HP.
Macy G though pushing far forward there finds that Widow, but the Graviton Surge comes out from Toastman, and unfortunately there's nothing to prevent the damage from coming through on the side of Jamyoole, as everyone's going to be knocked off the point. Ludigoyoda already 86 on another Shatter, even after that last one being stopped by Tommy B.
Yeah, I mean, the Widow pick, it was a very smart pick. You know, you come back and you hit a couple headshots, and that completely changes the fight.
Already, Hollysoft has forced out the Immortality Field from Silent just to keep himself alive after getting headshot by Hollysoft. And now the Maywall coming out from Tommy B does zone out that Reinhardt very well, as Ludigoyoda does fall first, followed by Nutcake and Toastman very soon after. Zotic and Hollysoft now going to have a very difficult time of 2v6 this fight as Antarctic pressures Zotic up on the high ground. Who now drops down onto low ground, looking for a pick, can't quite find it with that dynamite. As now Ludigoyoda just barely touching point on time, along with Nutcake. As the Death Blossom now comes through from Maisie G, finds 3. And that's 47 seconds left in the time bank after capping third point for Jamyoole.
Yeah, I mean, Jamyoole can't be angry at that. That was very, you know, okay, first point was a wee bit back and forth, but once they got past that corner on second point, it was pretty much Jamyoole's game. Almost every team fight, or every important team fight, came on the side of Jamyoole. You know, Crimson getting a few team fights here and there, but it wasn't like it was this huge team fight that they need to get past a choke. It was like near the end of a point or near the end of the map. So Crimson, you know, I don't think Jamyoole could be mad. And like I said, looks like a completely different team from the first two maps.
Crimson seemed there to win like 1 out of 3 team fights, I would say.
Yeah.
But never able to actually hold after winning a team fight. And as Jamyoole were able to just break through every defense one at a time. And it looked like even though they might have lost a previous fight, they were able to actually reset themselves, as we said they needed to do in between the fights, and were able to take the map, or well, take all 3 points at least, as we'll see the attack now from the side of Crimson, who look like they're running a Ryan Sigma double shield with that Widowmaker as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, they switched off Widow.
Right. No.
I was looking forward to seeing Hollysoft with the Widow.
Yeah, swapping off the Widow. He's done very well on the McCree, so I don't blame him for swapping back onto him.
The May coming out early from Tommy B, looking for that Reinhardt. Both Rhines counter-stunning each other here, as looks like Ludogota is going to be the first to fall, as the Immortality Field there is there still for Misty, who can just stay alive for that little bit longer. Macy G as well, finding Zodic on the high ground. Yeah, that's all there is to say, really.
Yeah.
As now there's a reset coming through. Tommy B waiting for that wall again. Gets baited though, kind of, as Nutcake almost gets walled off, but able to shield bash back over the wall and get to a safe place now, as Jamyoole have to play a little bit more passive around that statue, as Misty has very, very low health and even lower shield. As Sinan does get picked as well, followed very, very quickly by Misty. Tommy B finding Zodic, going on the flank, but not going to be enough, as once again there's very little to no heals on the side of Jamyoole, who are just holding on for dear life here. Fleshwurst falling inside that hotel next, as Antarctic goes to touch point, but Halisov denies it completely. Now Antarctic and Fleshwurst, I believe, are going to get the further spawn on third point, which is going to stop the recontest from coming through too aggressively from Jamyoole here.
Yeah, it was very convincing, that fight. And with not that much put in either, just, I guess, getting run over by the sheer amount of damage that comes out with the tree and the Ash is spamming from long range when they have to play semi-close.
Zodic here getting stunned and almost taken out, but the shatter is there from Ludogota. It's actually blocked mostly by Fleshwurst. Sinan does fall. Ludogota finding Misty as well with those hammer swings. Zodic doing a nice job flanking in the backline, keeping the opposing side quite low, as now the High Noon comes out from Halisov, finding 3. So that's 4 kills for Halisov in that fight. And once again, a very convincing fight for the side of Crimson, as we see Toastman just sitting on the payload.
Yeah, no, if you're Crimson, you're very happy. Like, second point is an absolute nightmare to get past a lot of the choke points if the defense can get back in time.
But it's once again these DPS players, and even Ludogota as well, taking these team fights very aggressively and trying to win them before they even start. And once again, the point turns before Jamyoole can recontest. Tommy B does pop that May ult, freezes 3, but Immortality Field is there to keep them all up, and there's no follow-up pressure from the side of Crimson, as Halisov, after getting unfrozen, is able to find 3 more.
Yeah, I mean, he's just, like I said, he's just playing an amazing game. It might just be a really good day for him, but yeah, nonetheless, it's very entertaining to watch.
Well,
you know,
exactly
it's always fun
here
to see a DPS just click heads and, you know, just destroy.
Now the High Noon coming out from the opposite side here. Macy G looking for someone, but he can't quite find it. The Graviton Surge coming through. Another shatter as well from Misty. Does find quite a lot of people, but Zodic finds 2 both supports on the flank, and the Bob is there as well. Zodic finding 3, 4 even.
Ooh.
Going for that 5k, and it's just Fleshwurst left alive once again on that Zarya. And another absolute teamfight carry by a DPS player on the side of Crimson. Once again, Jamyoole doing quite well to take out most of Crimson here, but these DPS players on Crimson are just playing out of their minds today, as the shadow comes through. It is blocked though by Ludogota, but now the Sig ult as well coming through, trying to force C9 Toastman. Can't quite find it, but does find the kills, as the damage followed up as well by Nutcake and Ludogota on the point. Now it's just Toastman able to contest, but it's only Fleshwurst left alive once again for Jamyoole, and is demech now by Zodic. And now is killed, but Misty finds a kill on Toastman. It's just Zodic left alive for the side of Crimson, whose team is regrouping now, but Zodic is able to escape with his life. But Halisov finds the pick on Antarctic. Very, very nice shot there. Zodic.
And Mazy G going down to the side of Zodic as well.
Yeah.
Oh, and Zodic finding a second as well.
Finding more and more. Halisov through that BAP matrix is just popping off, as well as Zodic. And it looks like this point is going to be turning over for Crimson, and that's almost 4 minutes on the clock still for the side of Crimson, who won every team fight extremely convincingly on their attack.
Like, even when it looked like Crimson was down and out, you know, the entire team was dead. It was the DPS just stepped in like, no, it's still winnable. It ended up getting like a 4k between the two of them, and at that point it's a 3v2. There's not much you can do.
I'm not sure is that, because obviously it's great play out of Crimson, but is there a bit of a miscommunication or a complete lack of communication even from Jamyoole for not calling out these flanks, especially there on third point? I'm pretty sure, I think it was Antarctic, did spot and did contest even Zodic briefly, and then both supports were killed by Zodic on the high ground, who went on the flank.
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
then the Bob
I
came out as
mean,
well, and still Zodic was completely ignored, as was the Bob, and it was able to find 2 more picks.
it wasn't completely ignored. Macy G did try to TP up top, but the TP comes through, gets a headshot. What can you do then? You know, you've got the spam, you've got dynamite that can possibly go on you, you've got the other DPS shooting at you. There's not much you could have done there. He did his attempt, but yeah, you're absolutely right. From almost the beginning of the game, the DPS on the side of Crimson had absolutely no contest. You had snipers, and well, you had the sniper on the side of Zodic, and then you had the kind of brawl McCree on Holysov, and they were just completely uncontested.
Now we do see the double shield switch up coming out from the side of Crimson. Is that this Winston Diva rush comp is coming out from Jamyoole here, looking to try and pressure that high ground as Macy G TP's up on his own so far, but the team are going to follow up and probably push up the staircase and just once again pressure that high ground and try to clear it for their well, for the team, so that they can take that fight a little bit easier and keep that Ashe and Sigma stop them from pressuring the back line. And they do just that. The entire side of Crimson now has been forced off the high ground, which now totally belongs to Jamyoole, who are looking to drop down onto the point. Misty jumping in, dropping that bubble, but is killed before the bubble can even hit the ground. As Ludigo Yoda finds Sinan as well. Tommy B does find Zodic, but it's not going to be enough. 1 kill is not going to be enough. As
Yeah. And because they took so
Crimson
long
just
on that first team
team-wipe.
fight, it was only one team fight in this defense, and a very convincing one of that as well from the side of Crimson. Now,
So
a monumental task on the side of Jamyoole to have essentially a 4-minute hold on first point for.
yeah, that's even only for a draw.
That's just to go to the next map. That's not even to get a point on the board for the reverse sweep. So, you know, it's definitely possible.
Mm-hmm.
I, unfortunately, I don't see it happening though.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute struggle for Jamyoole to pull this off. Crimson, of course, playing extremely well, and showing that they're quite versatile as well, playing more than just this brawl comp. They, showing off that double shield as well as
Oh,
running earlier on
absolutely.
that ball comp as well with the tracer. Um, Definitely showing that they're in this league to win it. As we see now the double shield is well coming from Jamyoole on the defense, and we see Tommy B on the Genji, which is a comfort pick. But unless they can get that Nano Blade up in time, it's going to be a real struggle for them to hold this.
Yeah, and you see, I saw for a second there double. Oh no, double sniper is coming in on the side of Crimson. What was very good to see from Crimson is with that comp they're playing extremely passively, and at the point where Jamil had to jump on point, they were all on they were all together in a death ball. You know, Misty jumps in first, just gets completely executed before the team could even land on the ground.
Jamyoole so far playing very, very split. Half the team on one side of the map, the other half on the other side. Tommy B does a nice job pressuring that Widow and getting the kill, but Oliball finds Sinan as well as Ludigo finding Misty already. These picks are coming through for Crimson. Is no one's going to be able to touch point. Oh, sorry, Macy G just barely able to touch point before it turns over, but it's not going to be enough. One person can't stay on the point for very long, especially at DPS. It's taken out very, very quickly as Crimson takes this map, takes map 3, and that's going to be a 3-0 on the side of Crimson, which is going to really hurt Jamyoole's already hurt confidence.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't as clean as Yonkers yesterday, but I mean, make no mistake, this Crimson roster is nothing to be scoffed at. A very, apart from the first map, a very, very convincing 3-0.
Jamyoole's first attack, I believe, on Kingsrow was pretty good. It was like, I mean, they were able to cap all 3 points, which in itself is pretty impressive, especially against a team like Crimson who have just been playing out of their minds today. But unfortunately, Crimson were able to just do it faster, and I believe you said this yesterday. Anything that one side could do, the other could do better. In this case, Crimson just
Kevin.
being better than Jamyoole. Um,
Again, it's all about confidence. Like, obviously, you see the team that's 3-0'd both their prior matches, completely dominating team fights, where you have the team that's kind of it's got a bit of hurt confidence, struggling in team fights. They had a few convincing team fight wins, but having just a few throughout 3 maps is not good enough.
yeah, they had a few convincing ones, whereas Crimson, pretty much every team fight that they won very convincingly.
Yeah.
Um, Well, I mean, we can say that, but there was a few fights where we genuinely thought Crimson were down and out, and the DPS came back
Oh
in,
yeah,
and I wouldn't call it a convincing team fight win, but at the same time, I kind of would because it was a team kill, for one
oh yeah,
side.
yeah. I mean, it wasn't convincing in the way because it was like it essentially started out as a lost team fight, but at the end of the team fight, there was still three players standing on the side of Crimson, and there was zero on the side of Jamyoole. Which again, it just shows the difference in confidence. You know, the DPS players on Crimson are looking very very confident. Where Tommy B had a good couple of plays. Maisie G had a good couple of plays, but they weren't consistent throughout the game. Where you just saw like consistent good plays out of both Zotnik and Holisov.
I don't want to take any credit away from the rest of the players in this match either. I mean, definitely these plays couldn't have been possible a lot of the time without the space being created by the tanks and the support being there from the healers. For the DPS to pop off like this. But at the same time, there were a few plays, as we said,
Yeah,
where one DPS absolutely solo carried when their entire team was already dead, which is
yeah. I mean,
pure like solo skill. But at the same time, on Jamyoole, we say that Tommy B was inconsistent and Maze G were inconsistent, but again, it wasn't just them. Maybe they didn't have as much space because
yeah,
that space was being denied by Crimson. Um,
absolutely not. Like it can go both ways. Like where Crimson's DPS have the space to do whatever they want and to be like those star players like you see in these tier one rosters where you can see like when Defran was on Atlanta Reign or Pine was on NYXL. They have this space and they can just pop off. It's absolutely the same here. Where if the DPS have the space from the team that creates the space, even if it is just them dying, like we saw in Dorado, they got dived. Crimson got dived. A lot of the players got taken out, but they had no abilities left to stop the McCree coming in from Holisov, which just completely turned the fight over. It's DPS are star players, and they need their teams as much as their team needs them.
well, I couldn't say that better myself. But unfortunately, guys, that is all we have for you guys for today. And it is once again another 3-0, this time on the side of Crimson versus Jamyoole. And yeah, thanks for coming. We'll see you again tomorrow, I believe. We have our next match between, I believe, Revamp and Renai Crew, if I'm not mistaken. So hope to see you again then. But for now, GG's, guys.